This is the Thornhill Bodies tone. The real Thornhill Bodies tone. Not the old one that I made. That one's old. That was from the single. It doesn't even sound like Bodies. This is it. Let's dive into it. Let's start with the bass, the most important part of Bodies. Like I said in my previous one, it is the foundation of the guitar. If you don't get a good bass, you won't get a good guitar. I've done the same DI split. This was recorded with my actual bass. Which is an Ibanez SR375E. It's a 5-string bass, and if you're going to get into bass, I recommend that bass. It is so nice. For the tone for this bass, I just love how an Ampeg bass sounds, so that's mainly what I go for these days. And to change the tone, I'll just distort it before and or after, and it's just, that is the whole tone. Because it's such a stop and start riff, I've had to use a gate, and this gate just worked the absolute best out of all of them. So I recommend this if you really need, like if you can't be bothered chopping up, or if you just want a bit more stoppy style in your tone, I recommend this gate. Got this on. I accidentally didn't set it to all of the things, and I built the whole tone around that. But usually I'd press all knobs in, but for this one it was just on 4. It sounds okay. See how it's just way too distorted with it? So that's why it's pushed way too hard over here. Added a bit more attack. Yeah, immediately more attack. This came out not too long ago. Why is the size reset? And I love it. Dark Glass is my favorite bass distortion pedal, even though it's supposed to be used as an amp, but I use it as just distortion pedal. It sounds amazing. Then the amp I used, this one's my favorite bass amp. The EQ, the graphic EQ you get here. These are the mics I used. I don't even know myself. A little bit of room. My thing just crashed. No, it didn't. I'm on small studio with the 414s, 421 and a 170 at 45 degrees. No idea why. Sounded cool. Let me see if I can... Here's the positionings. There we go. Tonal shaping afterwards. Low cutting at the crossover for the bass sub, and the bass sub will be almost identical to all of my bass sub chains, except again I forgot to click all of the knobs in, and I built a tone around that. Again, not a problem, it's a mistake, happens, and I built a tone around it, but it sounds good. But there is a lot more grit to that. So, in another world, I did that right, but we're not in that world. Best gate ever. Then this, the bass sub is doing the Andy Wallace bass trick. It's my favourite technique I have ever learned. I used it ever since I've learned it. And I implore you to try it yourself. It is the best. Split your DI, give it a go. I honestly don't think you'll look back once you do it. I make a conscious effort whenever I'm tracking bass in a session to track DI. You should be anyway, but I do it just for this technique. That's how much I love it. Adding some saturation, some warmth, even more than the Britain. Cutting up to the exact same linear phase. My new favourite plugin for bass is Little Lab's Voice of God. It's immaculate. I have this preset on just to tame those dynamics. Just gives you that sound you want. It's one of the presets. Give it a go. Revival to bring back some air. And here's what this is doing. It's basically a bass boost, but there's a little character in there. Just ever so slightly. You can hear it in the high end. But I just basically use it as a bass boost. More tonal shaping. Getting rid of some harshness, some peaks. Tape distortion, leveling it out with this. Sidechain to the kick, those are the settings. Another thing that I like doing is putting it on free mode and sending it there, so it's only going for the click, because the tail of the low end can sometimes trail off and it's harder to get fast attack and a good release for that, and you can dial it in more accurately that way. That's the bass. Onto the main guitar, my favourite part. Quite a long chain, doesn't need to be that long. This is unneeded. I actually tracked this with my stock pickups in my guitar, which is an ML1 Modern Baritone by Chapman guitars. And then I upgraded it to a Lundgren M6. I like the sound of it. I think I might actually be on it. Yeah, I am. This is all the Lundgren pickups, except for this part, because I could not be bothered to retrack that. As you can see, I had to slow it down just so I played the right notes. I hate this part. It's literally just a play whatever the I'm going to move on. So I've put that in there, and then I've just turned it on so it DI matches to the Lundgrens for the whole tone. Going into Nameless Suite X for whatever this gate thing is, more gating, transposing it, because the actual amp I'm using doesn't have a transpose in it. DI shaping, just to bring back some life after transposing, so if you listen to it. That just sounds more real to me. This pedal. Tightens it up a little bit. It's only mixed at 55. Then the amp you've been waiting for, and I've also been waiting for. That's been out for ages, just round our noses. I haven't changed anything. Same cab IR, 57414. Maybe move some stuff around, that's about it. Dialed in these settings to ear and to taste, really, because it started to sound nothing like the original, but still sounds fucking gnarly. I love this amp. Doesn't have an EQ built in, so I've had to do it afterwards. Return of the Voice of God. Like, it really starts to feel like it's showing its teeth with this on. widening ever so slightly. More tonal shaping, not a whole lot. Probably just listening to it in the mix and seeing how to get it to fit better. Then here's a neat trick that I've tried recently is in Imager you can set it to transient mode. You got stereo and then transient sustain. So for those like big pick attacks on the transients, let's have a listen. It just boosts this whole like mid-range, just really widens the whole stereo image. Then a bit of soothe because it's quite a harsh guitar. Now let's play the bass and this tone together. You can hear how a lot more pick attack comes through from the bass than the guitar, but it's still quite a spanky amp, and that's why I love this amp. It's one of my main amps to go to now. Another thing from the actual song is this like droning lead. I watched the whole production walkthrough of Bodies where they talk about fuck all production wise and just chill on a couch. Biggest waste of time. But they mentioned some cool things, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. I take my words back. Like the droning lead, I believe the guitarist, I believe it's Ethan. He talked about how he sent his own voice through an amp. So it's not an actual guitar, but I'm not going to do that. Can't be bothered. So I used a real guitar. Same amp, different settings. Maybe this is slightly different. And that's about it. Let's play it from here. Oh yeah, I lied. There are some differences. I've just got the reverb on to give it a super distorted sound. Tonal shaping here. I'm just going to play the whole thing because it's quite a harsh guitar. Yeah, that's that. The lo-fi tone is the exact same amp, just very short, making it an actual lo-fi guitar, but some changed settings here. I'm not sure what's changed. I just did it by ear and it sounded sick. I think I changed this one. Let's try it over here. That to my ears, as soon as I played that through the amp, I just changed one of these settings, maybe this one, and I was like, that just sounds like the lo-fi tone already. So I stuck with the amp and it sounds so damn close to my ears. I'd be surprised if they didn't use it. Or at least some Fortin amp. I know it's a Fortin amp, but I'm not sure what. Then you've got some main chorus chords. Those are there. But you've got some dubs going on. Yeah, all of it's by ear. You get the gist now. This is just reverb, shimmer. Same thing. That is literally just all the way through. And then you got drums. Let's go over the VST. Modern Massive, of course. It's the best one. I usually click on that because it's just full reset. Choose these by ear, see which sounds the best. By the way, I manually do all of the MIDI programming myself. If you want the MIDI, I'm going to put some stems and presets and the MIDI on my Patreon if you're interested. I'd really appreciate it. So, for every time I touch this, I have to go in and do this myself, mix them all to taste. These are really brought down in the rooms and in this overhead. Snares brought up. Toms, wherever they are. These, wherever they are. Dialed in some EQs. Yeah, that's that. I've got this plotted here instead of on the actual VST because I've got this sent to some triggers. I can't show what they are, but I used a combination of slammers. I think that's Dan Bronstein, right? And some others. I honestly don't know. But they're being sent to there. I can solo those to show you what they sound like. So they make up a chunk of the sound. They just help with the attack and body, especially the snare trigger. But solo the drums, they sound like this. For this mix, I wanted to keep the room monos on their own track, not bus them. Just so I can beef it up a little bit. And it won't affect the dynamics of the rooms. Let's go to the room close. So much EQ. Just really getting it to sound exactly how I want it to sound. Whatever I hear in my head. This preset and then changed it somehow. Removing some lows, getting rid of some harsh highs. This compressor, still the best for rooms. This is barely doing anything. I think it's just bringing it up with the wave shaper. Compression. I really like getting them fitting into their own spaces, so I stereo image almost every single one individually, except this one. I guess the space was right. Again, wild EQ, just getting it exactly how I imagine it. Let's play it with and without. Yeah, it just really helped keep some low end for the kick, bring up the snare, smooth out the highs. This. This is wild. Compressing, probably just starting. Yeah, a bunch. Oh fuck, I just changed it. Just starting it, using this trick. I'm not sure what I've changed. Just dialed in. This is slightly down instead of being full slay mode. Then it's on 7. Stereo image. Exciting the transients. Again, one of my favorite tricks. As of late, anyway. This works just like using the imager, except it distorts the transients more than the sustain. This also on the transient sustain brought down the amount. So it's really quite low. It's lower than it says here. I've brought the sustain down on the low end, so the lows dip back down. That's a cool trick. I think you should try it. That's that. Overheads, they are what they are. These are the settings. Fitting them into their own space again. Bringing those overheads into the mix. can show you the kick. This will have been tuned while I've got all the instruments already plotted. I just bring this up and down so that the kick pre-mix is already sitting on top of the mix, and I can dial in my EQ to get it to fit exactly how I want. So let's solo this. Without that on. Just beefing it up, making it a bit more scooped. Sub is sub. Don't really do much to that. This is my kick. Removing some click, but keeping some attack. Compression. Fast-ish. Fast release. Some saturation, more saturation. This compressor, I think it just is really, really, really good for kicks. I've got it on the cracking snare, but it just sounds good on kicks. See what I mean? That's just fucking nice. This EQ. That brings up some like some 100 hertz. Snare without these. Again, all of these drums will be dialed in on top of the mix. All of the EQs at least. Then here is where I'll do my tone shaping and compression. Saturation. Color particles. Started some smack. This bringing some air back into it. Saturation. Clipping. And even more air with the trigger. Plus the reverb. Just gate verb. Yeah. Toms are toms, always the same. Keep the fundamental. Cut some mids, keep the attack. Compress. Also this. Probably use that on all of them. Yep. Same exact process. Just rinse and repeat. The hi-hats probably have some shit going on. That sounds cool. Don't know where the ride is. EQ, compression. That's it. Another thing when I'm mixing these is I'll start with the shells. EQ those, do whatever. Then I'll move on to my rooms, get those sounding how I want. Then the overheads. This is with the mix still going. Then I'll lower all the shells and the spots. Bring up the overheads, that's why they're at 0. Then bring up the rooms, so the room fills in the blank spaces in the overheads, gets it sounding natural and alive. Then with those two mixed in nice, I will then start to bring up the shells, so they fit nicely. It just creates a really nice balanced mix, in the drums at least. Don't think there's much going on here. Golfoss. This is just a wave shaper. Some distressor. Just dialed in at about 50%. Then it goes into this, which is my favorite bus compressor. upwards compression, bringing out the tails of everything in between and limiting it. Really taming those peaks before the master to get it as squashed as I can. That is pretty much everything for this. I've got the guitar bus. This is to the kick. This is to the snare. And then this is just taming the whole thing. Like balancing the whole dynamics. Bass bus. This is to the kick. This is for the actual bass. On the instrument bus, I have Soothe. However I made it. Oh, this is for the snare. And then this is really wide, really aggressive sidechain into the kick. If I can solo what it's doing. And let's play a cool part, like over here. Yeah, that's it. You can see I made some changes there right at the end. I just feel like that part needs a bit more teeth. Needs to stick out just a little bit more. But that's the whole thing. I didn't do vocals. Fuck that. The lyrics cringe, but the mix is fucking sweet. It's a sick sound that they've got going on. I'm just much more of a fan of the Darkpool era. That's my kind of shit. Yeah. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. If you've got any suggestions, put them in the comments. If you want me to do another remake of any other song, any other artist, put it in the comments. And if you want the stems, if you want some presets, I'll put some stuff up on my Patreon. The link will be in the description. Yeah, that's pretty much it.